Sunday evening Legoing with Eddie. That's not really the name of this show, but that's what. Since it's casual Sunday, we can call it whatever we want. And Lego Lego time with Eddie Mac and Cheese. This is Eddie Mac and Cheese coming at you straight from Medellín. This is Eddie Mac and Cheese coming at you straight from Medellín. Looking forward to some click clacking. Looking forward to putting some pieces together. Looking forward to getting this is beta. This is the third beta of the stream test. So technically we're not officially, well, we are officially live, but this isn't the official. And the reason I'm saying that is because that stresses me out less than if it were the official. And we're still getting things like up and going here. I still look kind of like Casper the Lego ghost, Casper the friendly ghost. I still look like Casper. Maybe I shouldn't wear a white shirt. Also, that might be part of the issue. So looks like all right. So we got a little while. You got a little blah 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 blah. Took a minute to set up because I was doing some Lego off camera. Believe it or not, Lego stream. I did this Santa sleigh for my Christmas tree, which I put together over the weekend, over Halloween/Christmas, which we're calling it that. I've decided, you ever notice like Christmas is just coming earlier and earlier. Eventually the whole year will just be Christmas. But for me, and I know everyone says Medellín, Colombia, which is where I am. I know people say Colombia is like really super into celebrating Christmas, and indeed, Colombia is definitely super into celebrating Christmas, and it is a blast if you've never been to Colombia before. And I would say, just come for Christmas. And remember, Medellín is the city of eternal spring. So the weather's always perfect, right? So you can't go wrong. And the lights are astounding. But, point being, Christmas seems to always come earlier and earlier. And I guess everyone wants to get a jump on the holiday season. Christmas is fun, but there's a backstop, right? What are you going to do? Well, Thanksgiving we have in the States, we got a backstop of Thanksgiving. So Christmas has a hard time, bleeding over. Here, I'll show you what we're doing. We're getting set up. We're doing a 3-in-1 camera. This is the Creator 3-in-1 retro camera. And right now we've already done the camcorder, so adios you. And so then now we're on this little TV thing, which I think is like an early digital camera. And then we're going to do the final camera. So in the U.S., we have Thanksgiving, which of course is a great time for family. Or some people do it differently. Some people do like friends, Thanksgiving and Christmas family, but Colombia is big on family. But they don't have Thanksgiving. That's a U.S. day, so that's our backstop, right? That's our backstop for Christmas. So Christmas has kind of a hard time getting past Thanksgiving. Well, now in Colombia, there is no Thanksgiving, so Christmas is running wild and running away. And it is starting basically now at Halloween. It's having a hard time beating Halloween, and everyone in Colombia is ready and down to party at the drop of a hat for anything and dress up as anything. And dress up they do. Boy, Halloween in Colombia is ooh-wee. it is crazy, crazy times. If you think it's crazy, and I don't know, the U.S. I think New York was the funnest Halloween I've ever been a part of. That's like professional. New York and L.A., that's some professional Halloween. Because in L.A. you got like, actual costume designers. And my neighbor, he's a production designer and into costumes and set design. Well, not into it, like that's their livelihood. And remember one year their child came over dressed as an entire dining room table set up. That was weird, but it was perfection. I mean, there was like, I don't know, like six places at the dining table. It was for some like famous, I don't know if it was like a Queen Anne thing or like what was going on at that whole deal. But it was just amazing. Their little head was like sticking up through the middle of the table, and you almost felt sorry for the poor kid being all, little, carrying around a table. I'm sure it wasn't a real table though. It was probably paper mache. So I doubt they would, force their little growing child to, put on some hardwood around their neck and, walk around the neighborhood like they were in a medieval torture device. But it was impressive. I don't know if it was necessarily was cool though. I mean, it's, a dining room table with, I guess the cool thing about it was it was the balance and how it didn't seem like it was something you would expect to see. It was surprising, that's for sure. Anyways, Medellin loves Christmas. They love holidays. Colombians love holidays. And because that's the time when you get together with family and friends. And Colombians have a wonderful tradition of family and friends that I think we Americans or North Americans or United States people, however you want to call it, you know what I mean. We're loose on the Edward effect, so we can talk about that. But we from the United States of America, boy, there's so many syllables. Could learn a lot from our Colombian brothers and sisters about being able to socialize with friends and family, because they are very, very much about that. I'm reading a book right now. I have a newsletter called A Texas Nomad. Go to texasnomad.com, sign up. It's every Wednesday. And this week the book is called Let Them by Mel Robbins. I've been going through and reading some of these bigger podcasters. A lot of them have books. You got to capitalize on the income streams, and so she's one of the bigger ones, and it's a good book. The theory is sort of like let go of control over other people and let them do what they're gonna do, and that'll free you up in your life. But one thing I noticed she talks about is when your friends scatter, right? So she's saying there's different times in your life when your friends scatter. That's what she calls it, her term. And like, for example, when you're in elementary school and you're in high school, and you know all you and all your friends are all in the same group, doing the same things. Basically, the way I saw what you're saying is that you're sort of forced. It's easy to make friends. You always think you're going to have friends. It's going to be no problem. Even if you're shy, you know, you might go through some discomfort when you're kind of forced with people. And kids will be kids, and I'm sure there's, you know, meanness and bullying and stuff and all that kind of jazz, but overall you're going to be you're going to be forced to sit next to people on the bus, in the pew, in church if your school has that, or in the what do they call that, where they show plays and stuff, the auditorium. You're going to be forced into finding friends, like, sort of that way. One of my goals, you know, we're still in beta, but I always lose my train of thought, so I'm wondering if I could take a note of, like, the main topic. That would be a good idea. I have a notepad here. So what's our main topic? What are we talking about? We're talking about friends. Oh, wow, you could actually see this if I write. Like, friends. Well, my handwriting is terrible. So no, Colombians are really good at handwriting. Don't show them your handwriting if you're a lefty like me. My dad had perfect handwriting. It's so embarrassing. Okay, so hopefully this is not going to be on camera, just because of embarrassment. Friends, Mel Robbins. Maybe if we just, like, write little crib notes. Is that what they're called? Cribs. We can remember Mel Robbins. Then we're going to compare USAers. I guess I could come up with my own word, right? USAers, users. Oh, users. No. USA. I mean, we just need a better name. We'll come up with something. USA to Colombian. Alright, so try not to forget. Alright, we'll come back to that. Let's figure out where we are. This is a live stream of Lego, not a discussion of Mel Robbins' book, Let Them, even though I do recommend it. I have some issues with it, which we can talk about, I suppose. But let me I suppose I should remind myself before going live what step we are, so wait till we get to the Titanic. It'll take the whole hour just to find where I am if I don't prepare. So we shall prepare. See, we're learning. Every day we're learning, and we're hustling. And, okay, let's just see. All right, okay, we stopped in the middle of step 18. So that must mean we really had to maybe use the loo. All right, now we're on step 19. So we'll talk about the Lego, and then if I keep notes, all right, see, we're learning. As Dusty has a repeat, maybe I should have a repeat phrase. Okay, no? We already did that one. Oh, I just missed something in that step. Well, good thing. That's another thing when you're doing this kind of live, you know, and talking at the same time. That's why I'm keeping us in beta for so long, because I can still get away with being in beta for as long as possible. Okay, so now we're going to get to the window part, which we haven't put on any stickers yet. So we might as well put up the stickers on, because they're all going to be the same for all the builds. I don't have my X-Acto knife. Excuse me. I have a very specific way of putting on stickers, and I have a very I've developed a lot of my own techniques We'll get back to that Santa. Add that to the list. See, this is good. This will be the ADD list of ADD topic list. So we know what to come back to. That could work. And that gives us not supposed to wear my watch because it dings and I get a notification, and the notification might not be something that can be publicly shared, if you know what I mean. No, I'm just kidding. But we don't want any strange notifications. All right, so that to me looks like there's that one piece that we might not have yet. So we're going to have already, there's one piece missing. And of course, that's the first piece in live. We'll have this all sorted out. I'm still getting my borders on my workspace here. And so it's okay. We'll survive. But if I go look for stuff, that's not very exciting, because this is super exciting Lego stream. I know it's really exciting to watch. Now I want to check where my hands are in the frame. But there's a little bit of a lag. So that's why I'm getting the frame just right. That's why that piece fell off the other day, because I was getting a frame right. And you know how it is when a Lego piece falls. It does like one of two things. One, it miraculously bounces right in front of you and comes to a stop, and there you see it. Two, you never see it again for the rest of your life. No matter how hard you look, you just drop it down by your feet, and it skitters off, bouncing all around, and you never ever see it ever again. And then that splits off into maybe you'll see it again one day when you step on it. And we all know the stepping on Lego jokes. We don't tell those. There's a few things we do differently here on this Lego channel, on Brick by Brick, on the Edward Effect by Eddie Mac and Cheese, myself, Edward McWilliams. There's a few things we do differently from other Lego streams, of which I know none. So, all right, we're going to have to put some stickers on here, and I don't have my X-Acto knife sticker kit. I believe I left it at home. It is not in the studio. So we're going to have to do our best. All right, we might as well. All right, let's describe the stickers. Okay. These are the pictures that have been taken. We see on slide 1 some butterflies. Yeah, pretty big butterflies. Slide 2, a giraffe. Wow, we're on a safari all of a sudden. Slide 3, roller skates. Those look like that other 3-in-1 roller skate that I do want. Slide 4 looks like a Burning Man van. Kids, I don't know how to explain what Burning Man is, but you got the internet. Then there's a doggy with a chain with a gold medallion that says M. It says M, right? Yeah, I got good eyes. Or it's a Bat's logo. The dog looks kind of like, ooh, what was in that milk bone? Ooh, daddy. All right, and then, hey, look, a motorcycle. Well, I believe that we have that. I believe that's the motorcycle. What do you say? What do you say? All right, so someone took a picture of my motorcycle, which is another Lego. So I see what they're doing. They're taking pictures of Legos. So I wonder if the other one's a giraffe and zoned out dog. So I know that roller skate. We'll have to get the roller skate and a a Burning Man bus would be that would be a pretty cool Lego actually. Some Burning Man stuff. Maybe that would definitely be in the 18 plus category. Well, that was exciting. Our motorcycle made a surprise appearance. Okay. Now, let's see. So, the motorcycle's going to be first. I guess they have these being done. Yeah. Well, we might not be able to talk while we're stickering. Oh, you can kind of see through the stickers. How about that? That's kind of cool. See-through stickers. This is a little. I don't have my sticker kit, so here we're gonna have to concentrate. There we go. Not perfect. Which, oh well, unfortunate. Oh, that's cool, because you can see through the other side. You know, unless they put the sticker on the other side. That's a little confusing. Let's see. Sticker on the inside or the outside? It's kind of annoyingly confusing. Let's look in the other book. Looks like it's on the outside. Let me go outside. Okay. I like stickers. I know that's a controversial. You get a lot of stuff on the brick by brick. You won't be getting on the other Lego. All those other streaming Lego shows on YouTube. Which so far I haven't seen any. No, I saw one. There's that girl who streams from England. Maybe she's in university. Um, builds and something in talking to alliteration words. She's a big Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Alright, let's see. Doggy. And she's British, so she's got that accent thing going on. But I like stickers for a few reasons. One is it's possible to mess them up. They're sort of permanent. That makes it exciting. Two, everyone hates them, so like to be contrarian. Obviously. Three, I have a special way to do them, which I didn't bring my kit, which I developed myself. Four, it's fun to try to, go perfection on this whole Lego. And most important reason is because it's a different skill. It's a different thing that happens during the build. So a lot of people hate them because they are permanent, but I say that raises the risk. Like risk is important in Legoing. That raises the risk. All right, the shoe. The little lady went up to the shoe. And people don't like them because they say printed pieces are more valuable. Like, so I don't really. That doesn't bother me. I think stickers are cool because they can do more with them, and they're fun to look at. And these ones are see-through, which, I mean, that's, hey, that's creative and cool. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I actually like stickers. Everyone else in the Lego world will tell you they hate stickers. Okay. So this is interesting. I don't know if they really have to be like in the order that they are, but we were going to go ahead and put them in the order that they are, including the motorcycle, which made a nice special appearance. There you go, that's pretty cool. So that just is going to snap like right in there, I suppose. And we don't have that one black plate, but that's okay because this is just temporary until we get to the main event. And let's see. Anyway, so we were talking about Mel Robbins' new book, Let Them, which is what I'm, currently. My homework I gave myself, kids, don't, make sure to, when you're done with homework, like, don't do what I do and give yourself homework. Like, make sure to never do homework ever again. I think there's too much homework in school anyways. I think people might agree with that, especially those who are in school. Seems like you should be done with school once you're done with school. And you should spend more time with your family and friends. Because that is one of the things that we, USAers, are apparently not as good at, and they think we're cold. They, meaning other people in the world who are better at that. And I know I'm not good with family and friends. I don't know how to interact with anybody. That's why I've just played doing Lego. I can interact with you little pieces of Lego. And they're still doing some Halloween cleanup out there. Boy, that was some party. I'm excited to get to the film of the main camera. And, okay. So we're about finished with this. Whatchamacallit sort of camera. I don't know. Is this one of these like original digital cameras? I don't even remember what those look like. I thought this was like a little TV for a second. Alright, 6 of these brackets pieces. Anyways, so yeah, Christmas comes very early here where I am in Colombia because there is no Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, of course, is only a USA holiday. There's no Thanksgiving to backstop it. So it has basically bled into Halloween. So what I did for Halloween, I make a lot of videos. I like doing that on this channel and on my other channels. And I decided that Christmas is taking over. Christmas is taking over from Well, no, Halloween can't lose, but they're blended together. So I'm blending the two together into Christmaween. This is my latest release, my latest idea, Christmaween. Which is Christmas and Halloween together. So I made a video. My costume was Deadpool. Why? I don't know. Just seemed cool. I know it's popular. First costume I saw was some little kid in a Deadpool costume. I'm like, ah, great. But who cares? Everyone's having fun. Lots of Deadpools. There's room for a lot of Deadpools in this world. And Deadpool's a very famous costume in basically all around the world. You'll find your Deadpools. And your Ryan Reynolds. And he's normally a good actor. I like Ryan Reynolds. I like that how they sort of, his insouciant attitude is one of my. I always like characters like that. Makes it a little more fun than your regular old superhero movie. All right, these are some sort of. This is why I thought it was a TV, because these are like some sort of legs. Do these cameras have legs, or is this like a little tiny tripod? How does that? Why does it have legs? Is that how they looked? Why does it have a? Maybe this is a TV. What is this thing? Is it a TV? It's got an antenna. But why would there be three? I don't know. I mean, what is this retro stuff? It doesn't list the three. It's 3-in-1 retro camera. Okay, we did the camcorder. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe it's. I thought it's. At first, I thought it was a TV. Then I thought it was like some one of those old silvery, early digital cameras. Now I'm just unsure. So I'm gonna have to put this one as C for the worst of the three, because I don't even know what it is. And that's not very good. MIMHO. Let's see, where did that little ball piece go? I just had you. Well, there you are. Okay. So we're just gonna do this, and then we'll, take a break and then build the main event, which is still in the world of the beta testing. All right, is that a TV then? Why would a camera have an antenna? I keep trying to turn the dial as if it's gonna work, but it's not. It's a Lego. It's not as fancy as my new radio here, which does work. I should turn that on, but all right. We're gonna take a quick break, and thank you for watching. This is Brick by Brick on the Edward Effect. I'm Eddie Mac and Cheese, Edward McLuhan, and see you in a sec. made myself some, I forgot what it's called. That's the kind of tea from Argentina. I probably made that joke before. So this is a conundrum I've been having right now, as you know. That's why we're still in like a triple. This is triple B, beta 3, triple, another beta. Because I don't know if it's fun to show the breakdown of the 3-in-1 also. And you remember not to use your fingernails, because it's fine you do it on one, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities to do that. And but we like to make all three on the 3-in-1 here on the channel, because we want to know and dive as deep as possible as we can into the mind of Lego. And by that I mean everything. We're going to build everything. Build everything. And since it's a 3-in-1, if you're not building all three, seems like you're wasting your money. There's more building fun where that came from. So we're still on a beta test. This is the third one. I think maybe it'll take like 9 before I've got all this figured out. That hopefully I get it figured out sooner than that. But the camera is the one I'm excited for. I know that's going to be the winner, because this thing, whatever this was that we just built, I don't know what it was. Either a TV or an early version of a retro camera, which this is the retro camera set. So, but this didn't look like any camera I'd ever seen. It has legs. Like, what camera has legs? What's that supposed to be? I mean, it must be one that has that stuff. It must be based off something that I'm unaware of. So the question is, when we're not doing a 3-in-1, like when we're doing the Titanic, and I also got the Office set coming up, and some Christmas. Oh, here we go. Oh, luckily that was one. We already talked about what happened when you drop a Lego. You either find it quick or you never see it again. So I have to be careful when we're taking these apart. So we have a lot of cool stuff coming up. This is just sort of the least cool thing I have for the test. So if you're joining us, welcome to the least cool. How about that for providing some viewer excitement? The least cool thing. So yeah, I probably should have a different idea than taking this apart. Okay, here's an idea. I just had an idea. What about if I always do an appetizer? Like, I start with a 3-in-1. And there's still some yelling outside if you hear that. There's a lot of scragglers still about from the last night's Halloween festivities. So here's what I think maybe the plan should be for the next one. Again, no judging allowed, because we're still in test mode. This is a test. This is only a test. If this was a real Lego channel live on YouTube, then what do you do? What are you supposed to? If this were a real contact your. Speaking of retro, if this is a test, this is only a test. If this were a real, will be followed. I don't know. Who cares? Um, so here's the idea. Whew. Okay. My tea might be too hot still. Oh, I'm supposed to drink it through that weird straw. Hey, ooh, that weird straw. Sorry. Weird straw is not very long. It's gonna drop right in the tea. Ooh, that was too hot. There's a special cup for that. I always forget the name of that tea. But it's good. It's from Argentina. All right, back to the plan. Back to the plan at hand. I could do an appetizer of a 3-in-1. That's probably better. Because this is boring, you know? Taking something apart. And it's kind of depressing, right? What if you really like that? You don't want to see it get disassembled. Like, you know, some droid you loved that no one else cares about. So we'll disassemble in the off time. So I'll start the stream with an appetizer. I kind of like this idea. So like when we're doing the Titanic, which is, I'm only going to start when I have all these wrinkles ironed out. I ironed out the wrinkles. When we're doing the Titanic, I'll start with an appetizer like a 3-in-1. And we'll do one of the 3-in-1, and then we'll get on to our main event, the Titanic, which will obviously take weeks and will provide a lot of fun because think of all the cool things you can talk about when you got the Titanic on there. All right. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then so that won't be happening all the time. Wow. Luckily, I had 2 ones. And then I gotta figure out how to get music on here. Anyways, you can go back to Mel Robbins' book and this sort of whole friendship situation that I think Colombians are really good at. I've noticed that they're really good at, and that helps. Like, it's more human. We've somehow forgotten a little bit of that. There's all sorts of things we're good at, but socializing and oh, there goes the straw. I have to drink down to it. Okay. All right, here we go. This is the one that's gonna win. I can tell already. This has got to win everything because it's even got the really cool film here, which is in Lego color, like of Legos in Lego color. That's kind of a very a draw. That's the draw of this. Now we're still trying to figure out where to put. Y'all don't need to see my drink. See, maybe the drink can go there. Then we got this stuff here, and then that is over. That is trash. All right. Now we're going on the Nikon, or the Nikon. So, I guess I don't specifically have to stay on topic about the different types of friendship, but we can go back to. All right, so what she was saying was before there's in all through your childhood life, you have your friend groups, and even if you're shy, you're gonna get stuck next to a group of people somewhere in the lunchroom, and you're just gonna kind of get forced to make friends. In elementary school and in high school, you're gonna be in that situation all at the same time, and everybody has the same experiences, so you have so many things in common. You're all in the same clubs. You're all have birthdays that are all celebrated very equally. You all have the same holidays, same vacations. Where are you going for spring break, etc. And so your whole life is, everyone's getting same grade, same teacher. It's very much like an easy way to develop friends, even if you're like the nerd kid or a shy kid. I mean, you might need some help, but you're still quite likely going to get some friends, even if you going down to the basement to play D&D when that's not so super cool, until you're an adult and Stranger Things comes out and everyone thinks playing Dungeons and Dragons is now like really cool. And you're like, well, wasn't cool when I was doing it, but I enjoyed it. Obviously, it wasn't like all the rage. Anyways, so it's easy to make friends. But then one day you graduate and you scatter, and everyone in the U.S. moves. A lot of people move to whole different states. A lot of people, everyone gets different jobs, and it's not quite as easy to make friends anymore. And you haven't really developed a lot of the social skills on what it's like to be an adult or make adult friends. And as she was saying all this, I was like, this is interesting, because here in Colombia, what I've seen is that they've developed a lot of social skills, a lot more, really. Yeah, I do. Oh, I didn't know it came in the bottom. I was looking at the top. Alright, so right now we're on the third, we're doing a 3-in-1. This is the retro camera, so I believe that could be a Nikon, as they say in Japan, or a Nikon. And maybe you camera people who know. Probably not. Did Sony have cameras back then? I don't know. But this is we built the camcorder first stream. That was cool, and then we built whatever this is, the second stream. Looks like a TV to me, but anyways, was cool, still cool. Thank you very much for that comment. I'm figuring out. Oh, okay. Oh. Haha. Well, yes. I thought it was cool, but it didn't really become mainstream cool D&D. Or, I thought AD&D was really cool, because I guess Stranger Things hasn't got into AD&D yet, because that's maybe a little too deep into nerddom. A, for those of you who don't know, is advanced. That means advanced. So if you're just a D&Der, that means you kind of, what do they call it? What do they call you? You're kind of you're a tourist. You're a tourist in the D&D world. You're not, I guess I should follow this probably from in order so we don't mess up. You can jump around if you're if you're building outside of live. But if you're building in live, it's better to keep it in order. So, yeah, advanced Dungeons and Dragons, that's where it gets really, really interesting. That's where you get some really wild rolls of the die. Some piece of equipment fell. All right. Canon AE1 is what the lifeline, the audience, the crowd vote has said this is a Canon AE1. So I believe that could be possible because Canons seem like they were around back in the retro days, which are once again upon us. And there we are again with that piece that bounced away that I'll have to find off camera so we're not going to be taking the 3-in-1s apart during the stream anymore. We learned that it's better to do that off stream and do the 3-in-1 as a nice little palette cleanser. A Canon AE1, yeah, that's a Canon Lego 1. Alright. I guess people have lots of ideas about if you should sort of set up the okay, that's 2. 1, 2. If you should set up your bricks ahead of time to make it all ordered and organized. And sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't do that. It's kind of fun. It slows down the time. Makes it kind of a good meditative sort of experience, if you set everything out. And I'm starting to think maybe that would be a good idea in the stream, because you could find pieces faster than I'm currently finding them. Normally I don't talk while I Lego, but since this is my new thing, clearly I'd better get better at it. So that's why this is beta. This is the 3rd beta test in the stream of Brick by Brick on the Edward Effect by Eddie Mac and Cheese. Yeah, we have a number of brands. Get used to it. Just kidding. So if I'd set it all up, I'd find the pieces faster. Which I don't know if that's good or fun or if that's like what not. Alright, we've learned so far, here's one. We've learned so far in today's stream that the 3-in-1 will become an appetizer. And we will not be taking things apart during the stream. These are important new things to know. And we've learned that the chats appear on the bottom of the chat, which I don't know why I was looking at the top of the chat. Maybe I was still thinking of the old days of retro chats when they appeared on the top and went down. If that was the thing, I'm not sure. Alright, so anyways. It's really hard when you get out of, so you have a scattering, like I was saying. You have a scattering of people out, away from school. And now it becomes more and more difficult to make friends as adults. And we haven't really, for, a lot of us, we haven't developed the, like what I was thinking when I was listening to this Mel Robbins book, is that what she's describing to me seems like a particularly USA-er sort of situation. Like, the way she was describing it made sense to me, and it always made sense to me. I agree across the board with her, except the fact that I'm in Colombia, and I've seen how Colombians are, and they don't seem to have this sort of hang-up with friendships and making friends, and they seem to have all these social skills that we don't. I've been thinking about that, and I'm like, why? And then it occurred to me, this is more than just making friends. This is like in their dancing. Like in dancing, there's all these steps, and everyone dances with everyone, and it's a very common, almost like foregone conclusion that everyone's going to know what they're doing and how to navigate this scenario, whereas we are the most awkward dancers, and by we I mean Americans that USAers that grew up like around my deal. A lot of loose leaf in that tea. Well, hopefully you can eat those leaves. I don't know. Like I've noticed this one thing that Latinos do really well is in their party and dance. Everything has kind of these basic steps to follow, and that goes to the dancing. They have, and when you'll really notice this is when, like, say, I don't know, some USA song comes on, like I don't know, a song everyone knows, like say, like Snoop Dogg or something, like Pop It Like It's Hot, right? So everyone says to you, well, what's the dance to this? And you're like, what do you mean? And everyone's like, oh, like, how do you, like, what's the dance? They don't say, like, show me how to dance hip-hop. They say, what's the dance to this? As if the song came out and a dance came out with the song, which you would think that that song would have a dance, since like this Pop It Like It's Hot sounds, isn't that about dancing? At least one of the meanings. I'm sure Snoop has some other meanings involved in there, but you're like, you just sort of dance. Like, what do you mean? What's the dance? It's not like but it's like everything is, it's not a program, but it's like, this is the type of music, this is the type of dance that goes with the music. Like here, if it's salsa or bachata, everyone sort of already knows, and they're already on the same level, and they're already dancing. Or to different songs have different dances. And so my point is that, how did that get in there? 1, 2, okay. My point is that the social skills are somewhat learned also, and a lot of people here grew up with big families, like 6 brothers and sisters, and they're all very well versed in socialness and laughter and having fun and how to sing hello to each other every day. Somehow I have a problem with that. I'm like, oh gosh, do I say hello again? Like, I said hello to these guys yesterday. Seems like a lot of saying hellos Like I have to say hello every time it passes? And like, no, just the first time in the day you say hello. And you have to give you have to give it some feeling. You can't just say hola. You can't just say good morning, good evening, gentlemen. I guess we're still like a lot of British. Um, like good evening, good day, sir. Got to break out of that. I'm trying to break out of that, but man, it's hard. I feel really how you are structured by your like the culture you grew up in. You really are in it. Like you think you're not, but you really are more than you know. And breaking out of it is really difficult and maybe impossible sometimes. Oh, that's because I put 3 there and it's not supposed to be a 2. All right. Yes. Okay. So we were looking all for that piece for no reason. That's cool. That's cool. Anyways, I think we're coming to an end. It's been about an hour. Probably going to have to up this live stream. We're just doing an hour here and an hour there at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. And then we're going to, while I get this sorted out, while we're still figuring things out. See, I don't usually stumble over my words so much. Well, maybe I do, but part of it is I've got in my head thinking of the improvements each time. This time we got a new cord. I know you probably don't remember, but last time there was a cord going right through here because I was only able to get a very tiny USB-C to C, and that has been fixed. Now I have a longer USB-C to C, which so you can't see it. Anyways, we're on step 12 here. I think we're going to call it an evening. I'm gonna write down the changes from beta test 3 of Brick by Brick, the Eddie Mac live Lego stream on the Edward Effect. Hope everyone has a great Sunday. Keep on clicking.